Good evening to Sharon Silver.
Hi.
Sharon Silver, a very good friend, an ex-puppeteer. It's a pleasure to have you on my program of video interviews during COVID-19. And Sharon,
It's a pleasure to be invited.
I'd like to ask you three questions. First one is, of all the books you read in all the languages, which is the one that has left the strongest influence?
Okay, I knew you were going to ask this question, and it got me very almost embarrassed because I don't have a book like that. I was really trying to think of one, but it was like a little bit contrived to try and pick one if one doesn't jump out at me. But I could. I mean, I thought of saying Moby Dick, but I never finished it, so I think it doesn't quite qualify. I got about a third of the way through it. It was next to my bed for a few years, and I read it very slowly. And when I first started reading it, I was so amazed by this prose that I started dog-earing all the pages. And after about 10 pages, I realized there's no point in doing this because it was every page. Every page was dog-eared one way for this side and on the bottom for the other side. It was just too, so I read it very, very slowly, and I kept going back over the sentences that I dog-eared. But I I was so taken in by the texture of the prose and everything that I kind of lost the story of the plot. And I didn't finish it. This is something that I feel very guilty about, like not finishing my favorite book. So I will be finishing it sometime.
Well, you've got your life ahead of you. I find that enchanting concept to have a book which will continue to be there for you for many years.
Yeah, I'll kind of eventually find out what the plot is, but at the moment I just remember lots of really beautiful observations, I think, more than anything.
Any particular one that comes to mind right now?
Wow. No, I can't remember. I think what I've got, I mean, if this is, I probably haven't read it for 2 years or something. It hasn't been next to my bed. I've read other things, but it's more a kind of general image. When I think about the book, the general image that comes into my mind is, say you take a photograph of something, and there's lots and lots of details in this photograph, and there's no hierarchy. Every detail is just as important as every other detail, and at any moment, like some leaf on the tree could suddenly become the center of it, and at another moment, some snail on the ground could become the center of it. I think that's the feeling I got left with it, which I like. It kind of ties in with my general way I try and look at things. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Being a visual artist, I can see how that figures for you. Okay, second question. A movie. Of all the films you've seen throughout your life, which one has struck you as most significant?
Okay, that's really easy. And it's so easy that it's embarrassing because I'm kind of boring myself now because it's been the same since I was 15, and nothing else has usurped it which is Last Tango in Paris. Yeah, it definitely had the biggest impact. I wouldn't say it's the best film. There's lots of great films, but I think it just caught me at that time. I think I was 16 when I saw it, and it just intercepted me at that time of questions about identity, about true self, about how you present yourself in society. What else is it about? About watching and making a narrative as opposed to just being in a moment and doing away with any kind of narrative. About being an artist, about so many things. I mean, I could keep going back to it and like find more and more things. And as my life progresses, this has been very many years now, and 40 years, I can still go back to the film and see how it's influenced my choices in life, how it's affected the way I see things. So yeah, I'm very passionate about that film. I really feel very strongly about it.
Yes, thank you. Okay, the third question. Which political event has shaped your consciousness? And by political, I don't mean party politics, but anything that happened in a public sphere.
Okay. Well, I was going to say creation, which is public, I'm guessing. I think, well, because it doesn't really matter whether you think it happened or not. I think for the fact that this is this, you can, there's like a spectrum of interpretations of it. And you could always interpret it as something being created in some way by something if you just define it right. It's just, but I think for me, it's like I don't know if I can explain this very well. It's like creation is the limit of, it's defined like a thought space for humanity beyond which we can't really understand. And it's kind of, I think the way we've internalized this is a really frustrating ability to have a huge blind spots in the way we conduct ourselves. I see it the opposite. It's not a blind spot. It's a vision spot in the middle of a blind everything. And we somehow manage to conduct ourselves in this without most of the time getting too worried about it. Most of us, some of the time. So yeah, I think it's definitely mind forming for all of us.
Beautiful. I think that probably was the best, the most beautiful description, secular description of the world I've heard for a long time.
Okay.
Thank you for this. Okay, to conclude, is there anything you'd like to say, a kind of statement about what's going on at the moment? Farewell.
What's going on at the moment? I was actually, sorry, I kind of got a little pre-glimpse into what you're going to ask me because Matt, my partner, did this a few days ago. And my first thought was to actually quote Amos Gutman, the film director, in just because I liked it and it really stayed with me, an interview with him a few days before he died. Oh no, it wasn't a few days before he died. I'm making this more dramatic than it was, but it was, he knew he was dying, he had AIDS and he knew he was dying, and he'd made all these beautiful films, and he got asked, well, what do you want to say? And he said, be kind, damn you. And that was all. I think that's kind of one size fits all question. So yeah, I think I can pretend I thought about it in relation to what's happening at the moment in Israel or in the world or anywhere. Yeah.
What a wonderful message. Be kinder. Thank you very much, Sharon, and I hope to see you soon in the flesh.
Yeah, we will. Thanks a lot.